And the key is to just stay calm. Just woosah, right? Just woosah, stay calm, and figure out the best way to deal with the situation. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Leveraging Real Estate for Freedom. Today we're going to talk about 65th, okay? We closed on this property. First of all, this is an off-market listing, and the seller and the seller agent was the same person. Purchased a property, and it was mentioned to me that, hey, you're going to inherit a non-performing tenant. That's all that was mentioned to me. So I said, okay, we're going to buy the property. This tenant's not paying. We know how to handle and deal with these tenants. I keep on looking down. These are notes. And the reason why I have notes is because this woman is absolutely insane. I've never dealt with a tenant like this, so I am compelled to make this video. All right, just to share with you guys some of the horror stories and unimaginable people that you might come across dealing with these lower income properties. All right, initially, right after we closed on the property, we did a site walkthrough, right? So I was there, the realtor was there, and we actually did multiple walkthroughs, but this specific one was with the property manager, Mike. So when we went there, we're looking around, kind of, showing Mike what's going on. And then I mentioned, hey, go introduce yourself to this tenant. So, since we're there anyways, just do that, right? And initially, we, Rand's behind the camera. We were expecting a quick 5-minute conversation between tenant and property manager Mike, right? However, we literally stood there for about 30 minutes waiting for this conversation to be over. And afterwards, we're kind of making fun of Mike why he took so long. And he mentioned on the spot, he goes, hey man, this tenant told me the original landlord was a slumlord. He owes her money and X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh my God, why didn't the seller tell me this? So I kind of took that at face value and I texted the seller. I'm like, hey, the tenant said you didn't do X, Y, and Z. That's why she's not performing. And then the seller informed me that, like, hey, this tenant has a record. She's actually registered with the police department because there was a bunch of issues with her. And also she's a compulsive liar. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, now the tenant's telling me one side of the story. The seller's telling me his side of the story. So I kind of have to sit there and figure out who's telling the truth and who's not, right? So while I was sitting on that information, a couple days later, I sent in my work crew to start work on the empty unit. This is duplex, by the way. One unit was empty. One unit came with a non-performing tenant. And I sent my workers to go work on this empty unit. And when I was not there, apparently she walks into the unit and start berating the workers, start screaming at them, asking them why they're not working on her unit, why they're working on the empty unit, and she wouldn't leave. And so the workers actually called me, and I instructed them. I said, hey, go ahead and call the police so they can get her out, right? So they called the police, issue her a trespassing warning. Once they issued the trespass warning, she went like ballistic. She was threatening everybody. She said she's gonna hurt, my workers. And the police actually, called me again. The police said, hey, you should tell your workers to leave because once we leave, we cannot guarantee their safety. And we're not sure whether or not she might do something, and based on her record, she might. So therefore, you should have your workers leave. My workers left, didn't come back to work for a couple of days. They didn't feel comfortable. And eventually, they finally went back after about a week. And when they went back, there were human feces all over the ground in front of the empty unit. It was like smeared on the door. Obviously, we didn't see who did it, but there can only be one person that did something like that, right? So that was one incident. And then there was another incident where this lady somehow got a hold of my closing statement. I bought the property, I get a closing statement, and what that closing statement is when title and escrow send you the closing packet, and it shows all of the finances, okay? It shows how much I purchased a property for, the exact breakdown of the entire purchase. So down payment, loan amount, how much was paid out to sellers, blah, it was a broker package because, with your business, lender knows. But anyways, there was a lot of very detailed financial information on this. This is how dumb she is. She takes a picture of this and then sends it to the seller, asking the seller to pay her, okay? Because she saw how much the seller made on this property and then she wanted a piece of that pie. And then the seller texts me, he's like, hey, why did you give this to her? And in my mind, I'm like, I didn't give this to her. And the only way for her to acquire that net sheet, okay, that closing document, was by opening my mail. So somehow she got my mail, she opened it, and then she took a picture and sent it to the seller, which kind of frames herself because that is a federal crime to open someone else's mail, right? That's the second incident. Third incident, okay? She opened my mail again. I didn't know this. I get an email from my insurance provider for the property asking, hey, Nam, here's the claim that you filed. We received XY information. Do you want it, like, how do you want to proceed? And instantly, I'm like, wait, what? I just purchased this property. I didn't file a claim. So I call the insurance provider. I'm like, what are you guys referring to? Can you give me more details on this? And then we find out that this tenant used my name and my insurance information to file a claim pretending to be me. Okay, this is like the craziest thing. And so now at this point, I have zero tolerance for people like this. I contact my attorney. I'm like, hey, can we, number one, prosecute her? Can we get her out of my property? How do we move forward with this? Because this is extremely troublesome, right? And on top of that, whenever there's a vendor to go out to the property, either to inspect the property or to measure the property for our future plans, she gives them her entire spiel about how we're a slumlord for the past 3 years and we haven't taken care of her. We haven't done anything for her. But the thing is, I just purchased a property. She knew that because she opened my closing statement. She knew that because she saw my insurance information, and she's still going out there and trying to smear my company's name and my name, which just is infuriating, okay? Anyways, right now, I'm having my attorney deal with her to figure out the best way to move forward. She has prevented us from doing work in her property. She claims that there's damages in her property and things that need to get fixed. When we send the property manager out there or when we send vendors out there, she actually won't let them go in and continues to try to claim that we're doing her wrong. This is just, again, very frustrating, very infuriating. You're gonna run into people like this, and the key is to just stay calm. Just woosah, right? Just woosah, stay calm, and figure out the best way to deal with the situation. And right now, if I was younger, I'll probably retaliate against her. I'm too old, I have too much assets. So now I'm just letting attorneys handle it, right? And for people like this, there will be a time for me to say, do I want to prosecute her? Do I want to go after her for more damages? Do I want to ruin her life, right? I will have the option because I'm in the right. She's a tenant, or she was a tenant. Now she's just a non-performing squatter. There will be a time where those options to pursue her or not is in my hands. And when that time comes for people like this, I will not let go of. I don't care how much money it's going to cost me. I am going to ruin people like this. Because if you're shady and you try to be shady to people that have never done anything wrong to you, such as myself and my company, I take that personally. And at this point in my life, I'm chill. I might get a little bit emotional, but I'm going to come right back down. And I am going to look for legal ways of hurting you for the rest of your life. And so this is one of the persons that I will pursue because of our actions, right? But anyways, so for everybody watching the video, hey, don't let stuff like this deter you from real estate investments. I have tens of millions of dollars in assets. This is a drop in a bucket. It unfortunately kind of comes with the territory that you're going to have to deal with people like this when you want to make this kind of returns. And we're just going to go through emotions and kind of handle her, right? And we're going to make a video later on once this is all settled to kind of share with you guys what ended up happening with this non-performing squatter and the end result for our investment on this property. But other than that, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.